On this episode, we'll be talking, listening, captioning, reading, however way you communicating about speech impediments, a term that sucks, but my favorite excuse for why you're not laughing at my hilarious jokes. Oh, they just probably don't understand me. So let's talk about how sometimes you can't understand me as we fall down the meta rabbit hole. This is Reid. This is Raising Able. I remember hearing something to the effect that if you appear to be disabled above the neck, you'll have a much more difficult time getting past stigmas connected to disability. I have no idea if it's even possible to quantify social inclusion in any meaningful way. But I put forth this notion because it reflects my own sentiments about living speech that is deemed abnormal. To literally and therefore figuratively not be understood is something that doesn't go away. My first guest, Nina G, is a comedian, professional speaker, storyteller, writer, and educator. She brings her humor to help people confront and understand disability culture, access, and empowerment. Some of her reviews include, she will be inspirational if she was funny. I really hope we can find a cure for this unfortunate condition, and I have meat in my fridge funnier than her. Welcome, Nina G.
Well, what a lovely welcome. Thank you, Reid.
What motivated you to kind of fit those out and say, like, here they are?
I am impervious of any YouTube trolls, because what I always say is never pity me for having a disability, but you can pity me for going to Catholic school in the 1980s with a stutter and a learning disability. I will take that pity any day, and that is why I can have a YouTube channel with open comments, because I get nonsense every single day, and it's like, I've had total worse by people who actually had some power over me. So, some guy in his basement saying he wants to see my boobs, not a big deal. I don't really care. Although the one time that I did, like, the comment that pissed me off the most was someone said, "This is the bravest thing I've ever seen." The bravest thing this guy's ever seen is me doing stand-up comedy. And I put that in my act now, and I say, in your face, 9/11 first responders. I'm telling dick jokes.
Yeah, and they are very good dick jokes if I may. Being a comedian, being a woman, talking about your disability, can you talk about the responses you've gotten, the good, the bad, and the ugly?
I have one video that has 1 million hits, and it's a heckler video. Heckler videos always do really, really well online. So it's not like my best work. It's not that great, but it has 1 million hits. But it has thousands and thousands of awful things people say. When the first Women's March happened, I had this amazing peak of like 100,000 people in a week. And 90% of the viewers on that are men.
The misogyny piece.
Yes. And I've gotten paid like $2,000 off the video. So like at least I'm getting paid for the abuse that I take. But also it's just like, like, okay.
So you caption a lot of your stuff, and I'm kind of curious if you asked the captioner to keep in your stutters.
I only do if it's part of the joke. And otherwise it's like, no, listen to what I'm saying instead of how I'm saying it. And the other thing I want to say about captioning my videos is a lot of comics don't. And like deaf people know who I am. Because I have done shows and they're like, oh yeah, I've seen you on YouTube. And it's because I am captioned.
I didn't know deaf people have a sense of humor.
They do.
No way.
No, they do.
Mind-blowing. Do you still get people who say, oh, I saw this Oprah episode and you should try this?
Well, and I think that's the thing, whether you stutter or whatever your disability is that as soon as someone meets you, they suddenly have a PhD in the thing you have. That is a constant for all of us. And for me, the thorn in my side for a very long time was that Oprah had a show on the on this thing that you put on your head, that you put in your ear, and it gives you feedback. And it was a miracle because the girl couldn't say a sentence, and then she could speak afterwards. And what it is, it's feedback. So when I do a show and there's feedback in my ear because it's crappy audio, I don't stutter because it's a trick in the brain. It's called the choral effect, which, by the way, kind of screws up all of your stuttering jokes when you don't stutter. So, a little bit of stuttering is always very helpful. But the other thing is that like people would just like come up to me and say, oh, I just want you to know this. Like once I was at this conference and I was just talking on learning disabilities, and I was, trying to network, and a woman stops me, tells me this really important information because she thought I would like to know. And I was like, yeah, I just deal with it by telling everyone to shut up and not interrupt me. And that's all I need.
Any other memorable responses?
I think a lot of times people perceive that I am making fun of myself. I don't make fun of myself. I make fun of the assholes that I encounter. Is it okay if I say asshole?
Please.
Okay,
I don't think you're swearing it off.
Okay. Oh, fuck yeah. Let's go.
Yeah, we have a little explicit sign next to our logo.
Wonderful.
So, fuck Oprah.
Oh, shit. You're never going to be in the book club.
Yeah.
I have my book coming out, so I will not say fuck Oprah.
Okay.
So,
yes, that was my next question. Talk about your new book.
Well, I have my old book, which is Once Upon an Accommodation. Is it there?
It's here.
Oh, okay. Because there's all these, an array of disability books, and it's not up there apparently. Fuck.
No, I have it somewhere.
Well, Reid hasn't put it prominently on the shelf with all the alcohol there. So.
Oh, I'm going to find it to Target.
Okay, so I'm going to keep on talking. And the book is called Once Upon an Accommodation. See, I'm going to just look at the camera now and do a little thing. It's called Once Upon an Accommodation, and it is a book about learning disabilities and how to advocate. So it is a children's book written by me and illustrated by Mean Dave. I hear something above my head. I'm not going to look though. And the book is about a person. It could be a child, it could be an adult, it could be a teenager, but he finds out that he has a learning disability, and in the book is about him discovering what that is and how to advocate. Nothing yet, huh?
This is really embarrassing.
This is really embarrassing, everybody. He is looking and looking.
Someone took it.
Somebody took it.
It was so good.
Well, you'll have to go on Amazon or CreateSpace to get another one, or you can get another one at ninagcomedian.com under the book tab. Here it is. Yay! We found it. Here it is. Once Upon an Accommodation, a book about learning disabilities. But my next book is called Stutter Interrupted, the making of a stuttering stand-up comedian. So it's just my memoirs.
Cool. And when will that be out?
I'm hoping within the next year.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. This episode of Basic Able is brought to you by the Larry Lewis Foundation. Love, courage, strength. At the Larry Lewis Foundation, we'll focus on curing disability. All of them. All of your donations go towards medical research. Or, put another way, all of your donations go towards hope. Here with me now is Lateef McCleod. Lateef McCleod is building his career as a motivational speaker and spoken word artist. He has earned a BA in English from UC Berkeley and an MFA in creative writing from Mills College. He is now a student in the Anthropology and Social Change doctoral program at the California Institute for Integral Studies in San Francisco. Lateef, thank you so much for being on. So my first question is, why poetry?
I chose poetry as my main art medium because I could adequately express my thoughts and feelings in several verses instead of having to write in pages as an other medium. Typing has always been slower for me, which means I need more time to write. However, I do have to say I also like to write fiction, and I am writing a novel right now to address some concepts that I would like to express through the storytelling format. I have always been attracted to the narrative and the art of constructing another world in fiction. Since I was young, I loved to be engrossed in a good novel.
So if it's okay, I would like to read a section of your poem, Wall. Don't shut me from the impatient faces that tap their toes. Their eyes always wander, looking for the next novelty. They need patience, but my cell phone goes deadly for hours in the day. Can't we just find a fiber optic way to hook my brain to the machine so my thoughts can be electronically voiced over 12-inch speakers? Can you talk about how your relationship with your voice has changed over time?
My relationship with my voice has become more assertive as I become a mature adult because I have become more sure of things since going through life experiences. But like many people, you say, AC, I have to deal with time. And what I mean by that, in modern society, we are expected to do about everything by a strict time schedule, even communicating for people who use AA. See, we fall behind that time schedule.
And AC is assistive communication.
Augmentative, alternative, communication. Yes.
Gotcha. So you have another poem called "Too Pretty for Ugly Laws," which it sounds like a poem written by Muhammad Ali. What was the inspiration behind that poem? Too Pretty for Ugly Laws.
The poem was inspired by the book The Ugly Laws by Susan Shriek, which recounts the time during the turn of the 20th century when American cities passed ugly laws banning people with disabilities from panhandling or being seen in public. So when I saw that, I said that is bogus, and I need to write something to refute that. So I thought that I belonged to the fraternity Kappa Alpha Psi, and we are known as the Pretty Boys, so I definitely must be too pretty for some ugly laws.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. So intersectionality is one of the buzzwords going around our community, but please indulge me, if you will. On your Huffington Post bio, you are described as a black poet with cerebral palsy. Is that what you'd prefer? And if so, why not something else like black disabled poet who has cerebral palsy and is black, or disabled poet who's black, yada yada yada, or a poet who is, as we established, too pretty?
I guess I was using first-person language for the Huffington Post bio, and I put black first because I have become used to in this country describing by race first. I think as a person of color growing up in this country, you learn early on your race and ethnicity will affect how people will look at you. You can either hide that fact or confront that fact, and I choose to confront it and have control of how I am labeled.
So which synthetic voice pop culture reference are you sick of hearing the most? Stephen Hawking, Roger Ebert, or Speechless?
Speechless.
So what do you think of Speechless?
I actually think it is a step in the right direction. It has some flaws, but if to show it is like to grow up having cerebral palsy.
Now, if I was into making corny jokes that able-bodied people would say, I would say that it's not a step in the right direction, it's a roll in the right direction, but I'm not gonna do that. Is there anything I missed? Anything you want to talk about, or you feel like other people should know?
My website is lateefhmcleod.com, and I really enjoyed being on the show.
Thank you so much, Lateef. I really appreciate your time. So here with me now is the founder and CEO of Vocal ID, a company that is providing alternatives to the generic voice that is used with many speaking devices. Welcome, Rupal Patel. Now, Rupal, I am so excited that you're here because I want to talk to you about this technology, but also because you are the season's token non-disabled guest. So on that, A lot is riding on your non-disabled shoulders. So can you first tell me what vocal ID is?
Sure, Reid. First of all, it's a pleasure to be here and to talk to you. Vocal ID is a voice technology company, and as you said, what we do is we create customized digital voices for people who have to rely on computers to talk, not for them, but as a way to communicate to the rest of the world.
Why is it important to have a different voice?
Communication is more than just information transfer, right? So certainly communication devices allow us to get our message across. You know, the world is filled with a whole set of different kinds of voices, and those voices tell who we are.
How would one convey who they are through their voice if they've never used the quote-unquote voice ever?
Someone who relies on a device to talk, they make sounds. So they make vocalizations. And what we do is we harness those vocalizations. We record that voice. So it's not clear enough speech for people to use. So you can obviously speak clearly enough that I can understand you. But there are people with more severe communication impairments where it's not easy to understand what they're saying, but they are uniquely different than another individual who's unable to speak. So what we do is we record those samples, and then we find someone similar to them in age and gender, where they live, and so on and so forth. And we have that person, that surrogate talker, record several hundred sentences, and then we mix those voice samples together, and we create a computerized voice that's a combination of the two.
How many people have you been able to serve using this technology?
So in 2016, we kind of launched our service. And up until now, we've had about 100 and I want to say 140 something, 150-ish individuals who now have custom voices that we've built. We want to continue to be able to reach more people, and are looking to do that as well.
Well, thank you so much, Rupal. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Okay, best of luck, Reid.
Basic Gables presented by Rupal and made possible through a grant from the Ford Foundation. Producer Basic Gables and Troy Newton, executive producer Jan Lee, came up for this episode. Daniel Travis interviews, Isaac Krieger, Spark and Foster Productions, and Breakhead Productions. Captioning Cheryl Green. Visit throughmylens.org to find out more about how we're disrupting media portrayal of disability and how you get involved. This is Reid Davenport reminding you that able is a four-letter word. Thank you for listening, watching, or reading Basic Able. Till next time.